Academy core concepts. Again, see the core concepts have this little logo in the corner. That just means that they are free resources and they're foundational. They're core concepts. They're underpinnings of everything else. So you're going to want to understand this stuff so that we can continue the conversation at a high level in later videos, articles, and conversations. The core concept today in this video is system reliability. One of the most important concepts. A lot of great first principle thinkers are always thinking in terms of system reliability, and it is the base for upcoming videos. Engineering luck. You have to understand the concept of system reliability in order to understand how to engineer luck, as we call it. And resource allocation. How do you properly allocate resources? You need to understand system reliability in order to have the most efficient allocation of resources given whatever you want to accomplish. System reliability, the definition that we are using, which I pulled from Garrett Hardin, an ecologist who wrote Filters Against Folly. The reliability of a system is a product of the reliability of the components of the parts that make up the system. Okay? So that means a few things. Stuff you already know, but we're going to cover it anyway. System reliability is a product of the reliability of the components that make up the system. Product means we're dealing in multiplication. System reliability is multiplicative, which makes perfect sense if you think about ecology and complex systems. So we're dealing in multiplication. Now this is where some people drop the ball a little bit conceptually. Nothing is perfect. And nothing is 100% perfect, which represents 1. That'd be the number 1. Because nothing is perfect, right? Nothing is 100% perfect. We're multiplying fractions, percentages. Okay? Something might be 99.999999% perfect, but it's not perfect. Now, what happens when you multiply percentages or fractions is every component drives the product down, not up. Right, so 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 times 2, you end up with 8. Right, it starts growing exponentially. But with fractions and percentages, it goes the other way. For example, 90% times 90% is 81%. So you see how the product is lesser than the components. So if 90% of the time, let's say you turn a light switch on, 90% of the time you've paid the electric bill, and 90% of the time the light bulb actually works. It's a new light bulb. It's a not burnt out light bulb. Then 81% of the time you would get the outcome that you expect. So you expect to flip the light switch on and the light to turn on. It's reliability. Okay. If 90% of the time the light works, 90% of the time the electric bill has been paid and works, 81% of the time you'll get the outcome you expect. Now, if only 90% of the time you actually flip the light switch. So another example, let's say your boss wants to see the lights turn on at exactly 5 a.m. So 90% of the time, you actually flip the switch at exactly 5 a.m. 90% of the time, the light bulb works, and 90% of the time, the electric bill has been paid and it's running. Then your boss will get the outcome he expects, or she expects, 72.9% of the time. Right? Now, a few things here. One, you notice even though all components are equally reliable, 90%, the product is less. If you add another equally reliable component, the product gets driven down even more. The system is less reliable. So hopefully you can see, and you can run this math in sheets or a calculator or whatever. Every component you add of equal reliability drives down the total reliability of the system. Okay. Now, a mistake people make all the time is we have a system and we go, oh, here's a new technology, and they add it to the system. It's way more reliable than all the other technologies. But even if you add a better technology or component to the system, so we have 90 times 90 times 90% is 72.9%. If we add a 99% reliable component to the existing system, even though this component is more reliable than all of the others, it still drove system reliability down from 72.9% to 72.1%. So even adding better components to the system drives down system reliability. I hope this makes sense. You kind of maybe figure out where I'm going with this. More components drive down reliability, period. Okay? Now, you could replace 90% with a 99%, or whatever. You could replace a component and potentially improve the reliability, but you cannot add more and improve the reliability. It is not possible because nothing is perfect. Something, if it was perfect, it would be the same reliability. It would have to be better than perfect to improve the reliability. That's how math works. Okay? Now, the least reliable component in every single system is human behavior. Every single system. So we keep swapping out these programs and these technologies, and we're wondering, why is the technology getting better, exponentially better, but the outcome is not improving. It's only improving incrementally, if anything. And it's because the least reliable component is human behavior. It's really important to understand this in system reliability. And then we can look at like a technology, and I'll get into the reliability technology in a minute. And let's say the human behavior, 60% of the time you actually do exactly what you expect to do, or you do exactly what your boss expects you to do. 54% of the time you're going to get the outcome that is expected. Okay? And this is not unusual. The world is actually much less reliable than this. But as an example, now we have two options. What most people do is they try to improve the technology. So if we take the 54% and we improve the tech or the plan or change the law, right? Anything other than the human behavior, we can improve this 9% without changing the behavior, and we end up with 59.4% reliability, which is a little bit greater than the 54%. Right? But we can continue to improve this technology. Even if we somehow came up with a perfect technology, you'd have a 1 times 60%, still 60%. The best case scenario, as long as the human behavior component or the least reliable component stays low, is the least reliable. It's the weakest link in the chain, right? So 9% improvement on the tech equals a tiny improvement in the overall reliability. Now, if we take that 9% and we instead, this is supposed to be 90 here, works out like that, and we instead apply it to the less reliable component, it actually improves the system reliability more than if we improve the most reliable component. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If you can make an improvement, you actually want to improve the least reliable thing. If you can remove it. It's even better. But if you can't, we like to improve our strengths. Things we're good at, we try to make them better and better and better and better. The problem is it's incrementally improving the system reliability, and we like to ignore the things that are really bad, but improving those will greatly improve the system reliability. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I'll tie this all together for you the best I can. So improving the components with lesser reliability has a greater impact on the overall system reliability, which is the probability that we get the outcome that we expect. Okay, it's not the probability of getting the best outcome possible. It's aligning expectations with reality, which is the most important thing if you have any kind of long-term goals. It's just aligning reality and expectation. And less components equals more reliability. Okay? So, skip that one. Okay, so how do we increase system reliability, given what we know? Step one, remove as many components as possible. They might be cool, they might be fancy, you might be, really have named the puppy that you love this component or this system or this tech or whatever. But the fastest way to improve reliability is to remove the components that are not 100% necessary. And then we take what is left and we improve the human behavior or the lowest, least reliable component, but that's always almost human behavior. Okay, so step one, remove as many components as possible. Step two, focus on modifying the behavior. I'll give you a quick example of how far off human behavior is. Have you ever said, I think I'm going to eat this way. This is how I expect to eat next week. Healthy. It doesn't matter if it's healthy or unhealthy, whatever. But you say, this is how I expect to eat. And I'm committed to it. And you make it through the week, eating the way you expect, and then you fall, you kind of fall off the wagon on the weekend. So 5 out of 7. And we think, yeah, that's pretty good. I did 5 out of 7. 5 days out of 7. 5 good days, 2 bad days, that's pretty good. Well, that's 71%. So let me ask you a question. If your car started 71% of the time you tried to start it, or if your brakes only worked 71% of the times you tried to use them, or if your computer only turned on 71% of the time you tried to turn it on, or your internet only connected 71% of the time you tried to connect it, or your Google Maps could only find your location 71% of the time you tried to use Google Maps, would that be acceptable? Or would it be a limit to what you're trying to accomplish? My guess is you would say, man, if my car only started 71% of the time and my brakes only worked 71% of the time, I'd probably be dead. If Google Maps only started 71% of the time, I'd be pissed, right? Because we have a very high expectation of technology to be reliable and a very low expectation of our behavior. That's one of the reasons why our behavior is so inconsistent, is we don't properly frame it in terms of how it fits into a system. Okay? So your car may break down. It may not start one day. One day out of the year. That's 1 out of 365. It's probably more reliable than you actually doing what you expected to do. It's not good or bad. It's aligning expectations with reality. Okay? So we got to realize that human behavior is almost always the least reliable component, and that's important because when we want to fix things, when we want a more reliable outcome, when we want reality to match our expectations, we have to turn to system reliability and understand that, one, less components is going to be more reliable, and two, we got to look in the mirror. Okay? And this will come, the tech certainly plays a role, but back to this, until your behavior as a human is close to the reliability of the other components, changing the other components is not going to make that big of a difference, and adding more components is actually going to make it worse. So we got to think in terms of system reliability when we get back into, again, the upcoming videos, because it is a core concept. It's an underpinning, again, of the next couple videos, which is engineering luck. Right? Obviously, the more complex the system and the more components, the more we're driving luck down. And there's other components to that as well, but system reliability, again, is an underpinning of it. And resource allocation, where do we put our resources? Well, we might be able to recapture resources by just eliminating components of a system, stuff like that. Hopefully that's helpful. It's a quick overview. In the description, there'll be additional resources talking about system reliability. You just have to start wrapping your mind around the multiplication of sorry, I'm fighting a cough here. The multiplication of percentages or fractions, and how it actually works out, so that when you're thinking through things, you're accounting for kind of this slippage of efficiency or reliability as you add components. Live to learn, give to earn. You know, that's how we roll. Hope this was helpful. I hope you could sit down and apply it, and then ideally turn around, share your 6-word update, discuss it with others, and really work towards implementing these things in a way that's beneficial to you, and then hopefully, again, beneficial to others. Think about system reliability, and the next few videos will tie it all together for you.